Hey guys, Youngblood with you, and today I wanted to talk about the two new additions in the pistol category, the NS44 Commissioner and the NS357 Underboss. Now, both of these are going to be revolvers, so they're going to be a little bit different than things we've seen in the game before. But they're actually really fun, and I like them a lot. Now, what these are giving us is the badass factor that we've been missing in the pistol category to this point. They're big, they're loud, you feel like Dirty Harry running around with these, and since this update's gone into place, you've probably heard these loud booms all over the map, and it's these pistols that are going off. Now, again, they're fun to use. One of the big positives here is they reward accuracy, and you know, I know BF3 is a touchy subject for somebody, but if you played Battlefield 3 and you liked using a weapon like the Rex or the 44 Magnum, those are weapons that reward accuracy because they hit hard. Now, they've got slower rate of fire, so you can't actually just spam them like you would with a standard semi-auto pistol, but if you can actually land your shots on target, it's going to do a lot of damage, and I really like them for finishing off my targets. Now, a downside to these is when you're aiming down sights, they actually seem to have a bigger muzzle flash. At least that's what I've noticed to this point. So it's a little bit harder to stay on a moving target, and it can be a little bit disorienting. But, you know, it's just something I've noticed. Now, actually breaking down these stats, you can see on the left side I've got the Commissioner, and on the right side I got the little brother, the Underboss. Now, they each have their pros and cons, and they're actually pretty well balanced. The Commissioner's got a rate of fire of 170 RPM, where the Underboss has 200 RPM. So pretty close, but the Underboss definitely comes out on top. Talking about damage, you can see that it's 450 at close range versus 375, 225 versus 200 at a little bit longer range. The Commissioner's definitely going to win out here, but you can see as you get further out into those distances, that gap closes a little bit. Now, you know, with that in mind, even though it's not much of a difference, the Commissioner retains the one-shot less capability at longer ranges, just based on that little slight difference in that number you can see there. Muzzle velocity is a significant difference. You know, when we're talking about, I think this is about 30%, 450 meters per second versus 350, you're really not going to have to lead your targets as much using the Commissioner, so making it a longer range, better alternative. And then when we break down the reload speed, we're talking about 4 seconds and 3 seconds for the long and short reload on the Commissioner, 3.5, 2.5 on the Underboss. Now, it's not a huge difference, but it is noticeable when you're playing in-game. The other thing that I don't have up here is the recoil differences, and the Underboss has a significantly lower recoil, and I personally find it much easier to handle. It's a more controllable weapon, and I feel like I do better with it most of the time. Alright, so now that we've actually seen the numbers on these, let's talk about what I would actually recommend. And it's not necessarily you should get this one or this one. In the long run, it depends on what your play style is like. If you like to do close quarters combat, then it's really kind of a toss-up. The Underboss is going to give you the ability to finish off targets that you've wounded with your primary. It's also got a slightly higher rate of fire, which is great. I think if you like to fight with your pistol only, or you run out of ammo a lot, then the Commissioner is going to stand out as the better option. Now, if you're a sniper or you just tend to play at longer ranges, the Commissioner is going to be the better option based on the muzzle velocity and the retained damage over distance. So what am I going to be using? You'll see me using the Underboss. Now, the reason for that is in my playstyle, I don't use my pistols unless I run out of ammo or I need to finish off a target after my clip is dry. For me, that makes sense to use the Underboss with the higher rate of fire, the lower recoil. I don't need as much damage on that first shot because chances are he's already damaged from my primary. Now, the big question here is, should you buy one of these? Are they a lot better than the stock pistols? I think they're worth your money or certs. That being said, if you don't have great accuracy or you kind of spam bullets, the higher capacity magazines out of the semi-autos that you've seen before are probably a better way to go. For me, I think that this is a high-risk, high-reward gun, and it's definitely worth checking out. Don't forget, you can trial this in the in-game. You can play around with it in VR. And one thing that I seem to see nobody doing is actually going into the test servers. Don't forget that when the main servers go down, a lot of time the test server is an option. Not to mention they give you 10,000 free certs to make whatever class you want to play around with in there. Now, that's not going to go over to the main server, but it still lets you play with them for extended periods of time and see if it's something you want to buy. Also, you get to see the changes that are upcoming. So, I'm going to post a link to the test server. It's a separate download and a separate client, but I think you guys should check it out. It's probably worth your time. So hopefully you found this useful. Again, I think I would recommend these weapons. I personally prefer the Underboss, but they're so close and really well balanced, you can't really go wrong with either of them. So thanks for watching. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll talk to you guys later. Take care.